what's going on, guys? This is Coach Alex over at Peak Human Performance, and today with me I have the one and only Robert Smaldino. We are, again, working on finding new and exciting ways to make sure that you guys know who we are as coaches, but even more importantly, outside of that as people. So, Coach Rob, today, how are you, my man?
I'm doing well.
Awesome.
Doing well.
Good. All right. So, the first thing that I think is always a good place to start is talking a little bit about, like, you, your upbringing, like little things like that. Tell me kind of just about your family. Like, give it to me.
Well, I am the youngest of three, two older sisters, super Italian family, so I was the golden child. I could do no wrong.
You were the golden child? How does that work?
So if you ask anybody in my family, it's that I didn't do anything wrong. It's just that my sisters kind of just paved the way to me get away with things.
Got it. Okay.
Because my family was so pent up. By the end, like by the time that they were done, like growing up, they're just like, whatever.
Whatever.
So,
Yeah.
So I got away with a lot more than I probably should have, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's.
So when you say super Italian family, like dive into that.
Like.
Yeah, beaters. All right, cool. Yeah, all right.
But yeah, so the thing is that like when my parents split up, we moved back in with my grandparents,
Cool.
and that's kind of what I mean. Like they almost raised me while my dad was kind of trying to like
Get everything
ends
together.
meet together. And so I got really close with my grandparents.
Cool.
Growing up, and I mean the whole lunch on Sundays, every Sunday.
Everybody's there, yeah.
Why
So,
are you not eating?
what kind of a impact do you feel like that had on you, like being around the next generation, like not your parents, but being influenced by your grandparents?
My grandfather was like no BS. So like he didn't speak much, so when he spoke you had to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like it was just work and that was it. And if he said anything, it was like okay,
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
we're doing this.
Yeah.
But then my grandma was, I mean, the most like nurturing woman on the planet. So
Awesome.
that was kind of like, so like I said, when my parents split up, my dad got custody of me, and then my mom was still in California at the time, so I didn't really get to see her much growing up.
Mm-hmm.
She was battling a bunch of stuff at the time, so I didn't really get to have that whole like mom side
relationship. Yeah.
But I feel like my grandma kind of stepped in. I think that's kind of the reason why I kind of am who I am.
Right, because your grandma.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Cool.
that whole like approachable
Mhm.
kind of feeling that I try to give off.
She's approachable.
Super approachable.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, grandparents. I met your dad a couple times. Like, really nice dude. Super cool. Yeah. All right.
Just in case he's here.
Yeah, just in case he watches. All right, cool. So, tell me about your relationship with your dad. So, your grandpa's like stern and like ironclad. How does that impact like your dad?
So my dad was super against that whole stern and ironclad when he was growing up.
Got it.
So he wanted to have that same thing, but the thing about it is like my dad is like first off my dad, but like second is like my best friend.
Yeah.
Like he's always like I'm his only son, and I think that's another reason why my sisters resented me.
Gotcha.
But I'm his only son, and we were growing up, it was just like that's my best friend who's also my dad.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool.
And I think that's kind of how it still seems to be. He always kind of took it upon himself. He's like, I never really. He even knew like what I was talking about like with my grandma. I never really gave you that nurturing side because I never had that myself. I just had it was my parents. My parents
Yeah.
were my parents. And so he always said that he wanted to be like 49% mom and 51% dad, but he never could.
Right.
But I mean, like I said, the relationship I've always had is like he almost treated me like an adult from a really young age.
Gives you lots of responsibility.
Just because it was
Yeah.
like, you know what, like life's gonna hit you.
Yeah.
It already has.
Yeah.
I can't really explain to you how you're gonna be feeling because my parents stayed together for my entire life.
Right.
And so that like slap of reality
Yeah.
was just like, okay, well, I guess it's time to kind of man up, and that's kind of how he went about a couple of different ways to
Yeah.
just kind of helping me to grow up.
So would you say then like your family is like a really important part of your life?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Because I know you've talked a lot about like being around holidays and like everybody's there, like kids are all around, like just running around,
Birth
like
control.
yeah,
Control.
yeah. It's like helping you make sure you're staying on the straight and narrow. Good. All right. So you talk about like your grandfather's work ethic, your father's work ethic, and like knowing you, like when we first met, you know, I was really impressed with like your dedication to school, getting your education and that sort of thing. So talk a little bit about maybe like the impression that had on you and maybe how that like fueled your fire to just work. Like how does that work?
My dad explained my college career as like the longest game of Frogger of all time.
Frogger? Okay.
It wasn't a straight path at all. A couple of times I had to go back. A lot of times I had to go side to side. And then eventually I made it there. But the funny thing is I originally wanted to be a physical therapist.
Okay.
Because I was always getting hurt in high school. So there was like a couple things I kept trying to like suppress in high school. It was like my mom's not around, so I had bad little man syndrome.
Okay.
Being
Okay. Yeah.
this tall, like 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing, and just like angry and not really interested in it. So I was always putting myself in situations in sports where I was gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
And so I was always in physical therapy. My sister was had a couple really significant knee injuries, so I was in physical therapy with her as well. And I was like, I want to do this. This is awesome. And so originally going into school, I was like, I want to be a physical therapist, but I didn't really know that it was like a big majority. It's like elderly and obese, which it has its own specialization, but I knew I wanted to be around athletes.
Yeah.
And such a small realm of PTs get to actually
Get to do that. Yeah.
And so I wanted to solidify like getting myself to like I want to work with athletes. This is what I know. And so I did a lot of research on that, and I think one of the things that my grandfather said was just like hone in on something, find out what it is, and just do it.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, okay, well, those are 3 things I can do.
Yeah.
And so the next day I went in and I emailed some of the strength and conditioning coaches over at Ohio State on the football team. They let me intern with them for one of their mini camps for a little while. They cycle through interns like crazy though. But as soon as I walked in there, I was like, I want to be a strength and conditioning coach. This is amazing. Like, this is exactly what I want to do.
Energy is.
And so,
yeah.
you get there at 4 o'clock and they're like, if you need to yawn, leave the room. Don't have your phone out on the floor. And if you wear blue, don't show up. And so it was like, it was just, and as soon as they stepped in, it was just on 10. I was like, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
And so I was like, immediately it was like, what do I need to do to become a strength and conditioning coach? And then I ended up being done in 5 years at Ohio State, and I was like, I could either apply or I can apply for grad school. I could see what's available, and there wasn't a lot of positions that were available at like the collegiate level, or obviously I wasn't going to just like shoot for professional right off the bat. I had no experience.
Yeah.
But I just applied for grad school and then applied for a couple different jobs and didn't get a lot of answers back, but got into Dayton, got into a couple other schools, and Dayton was the one who offered me a little bit of my money back in order, like I was taking out a loan for them, but they were willing to pay for some of it. So I was like, all right, 2-year program, I could do that. And as soon as I was done, I was like, all right, now I got to try and go back there. And it's been 2 years, so they kind of forgot who I was by then. But that's always been like on like the back burner. It's like being a strength and conditioning coach for a team of some kind, whether that's collegiate or professional or mixing both. Like if I can get to that point, that's
the goal.
My top.
Yeah.
And so that's why I feel I really have enjoyed being here, is because Bobby said it best to me when I first spoke with him the first time we had a meeting one-on-one. It's like, this is a place where you get to work on yourself. And I was like, well, yeah, it's a gym. And he's like, no, like, yes, our clients get to work on themselves. We get to help them work on themselves. We work on ourselves physically, but this is where you get to become who you want to become, who you get to, like, you get to work towards the coach you want to become as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's a good point. And all the onboarding process here has really led me to like, okay, I kind of, like, I didn't think that I'd really enjoy corrective exercise, but my muscle, like, my joints don't move well at all.
Yeah.
So
you're
like,
always working on that.
Like, I'm doing experiments on myself. Like, okay, what can I do to make that better? Like, that's terrible. These are terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I've always like been working out for vanity, and I think that's what kind of, I don't want to sound like the guy who's like, I could have went pro with my knee, but like, I think I could have been a much better athlete if I had actually paid attention to that.
Yeah.
And so being at this level right now is only going to prep me for potentially moving on.
Get to the next thing.
And
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. I like that. So you talked about kind of like your occupation, like how you got there. So you like sports. Do you still play sports? Like, what do you do for fun aside from work on your shoulders and your ankles?
Right now, I'm not in any like organized. I'm trying to get into an organized basketball league, but that's here nor there. But I'm also in a softball league right now.
Oh, where? Now, where do you guys play?
Right over Dublin Toyota, the fields over right next to there. What are the Emerald Fields?
Emerald Fields, yeah.
So we'll play there. I mean, it's not so much an organized league. We just have a bunch of guys that I used to work with or live with.
Get together and play.
So we have like, I want to say like 15 of us. So there's enough to play in the field. There's enough to whatever. And
yeah.
We're trying to get enough so that way we can actually get into
a league.
A league.
Nice.
So, but right now, I mean, other than that, I mean, I love hiking. I love climbing. I'm trying to figure out how, like I said, how I've gotten so terrible with my feet, because all I did as a kid was climb trees, climb rocks, hike like crazy, but I always had shoes on. I think that's the big thing. But anyway, beside the point, it's just being outside, you know, that's a big one.
That was always a big one. Yeah. Do you guys take like, well, you and then Kendra, do you guys ever go like camping together, or do you ever go? You laugh? No?
She's not so much that.
She is not going to be camping. Got it. So then if you go out and you go...
She's an indoor cat.
Indoor. Okay.
Indoor cat.
Where will you go? Where do you like to go? Where are some of your favorite places, and who do you normally go with?
That's the thing. I kind of enjoy going by myself a lot. That's like kind of my way of like digressing, that whole like sharpening the saw.
Yeah.
I get to just let out whatever. I mean, otherwise, I mean, I'll invite old roommates that are still kind of in the area. But Indian Lake, I love that place. Alum Creek, love going there. Just every once in a while, like, so I'll typically, if I'm going like all the way to like Hawking Hills, I'll go with some people. But if I'm gonna stay local, I may just say, hey, I'm gonna be gone for a couple hours. Just cut my phone and bounce.
Nice.
And that's what's really cool. When I'm with people, I'm more likely to be doing stuff I probably shouldn't.
Gotcha.
But on the alone ones, I'll probably just stick to just hiking.
Yeah. Good. A lot of like coverage across the kind of broad spectrum. What would you say, like coming full circle back around to the very beginning, would you say like if you had a dream or a goal, some sort of an aspiration for yourself, like what would you say that is? How do you envision yourself? What are you working towards? Like that sort of thing for you?
That's tough. Well, I mean, in full circle, like you had said, I have always wanted to be a coach of a team.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, maybe not like a head coach, but I've always been just enamored with sports, and I think not being able to make it on my next level, whether it be hard work or whatever it ends up being, I've always wanted to be around them, and I think this would be my best shot, because I'm never going to be in the NBA. I'm never going to be any of that, but I would love to be around that environment where I can create a name for myself, even if as a non-athlete.
Yeah.
So that's always been my thing, is that I want to get to the point where I don't necessarily need to have business cards. I'll have them, but like I don't have to pass them out for people to know who I am.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I want people to actually. I want to get to the point where my name has there's a resonance.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's
that
I know exactly
guy.
who that is.
Yeah. Cool.
The same way I'm with some athletes that come through the store. I'm like, that was and like I don't want to like obviously I don't want to like be starstruck. I don't think I'll ever be a celebrity, but like I would like to get to the point where like my name
has a level
like
of respect.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I could dig it. That's cool. So thinking about like your clients, young athletes, your adults, what would be something that you feel like would be like powerful that you want to help them accomplish, or if every person that worked with you could walk away with X, what would that be? What would make you happy knowing that everybody got this from you?
But I think with everything that we do here being goal driven, understanding the application towards what I'm doing with them.
Okay.
So there's never going to be a time where it's going to be like arbitrary. We're always going to be working towards getting results towards the goal that they want.
Whatever.
And then not only that, I want to kind of open the floor so that way there's a relationship back and forth where I'm seeing things in them that I kind of want to help them.
Yeah.
And not necessarily like, hey, I think you should do this and manipulate, but like see if they're willing to go towards that same goal. Because I think a lot of the things we see with like our younger athletes or anything like that is like there's a lot of potential in a lot of different areas. Whether or not they're going up it is up to them. But
Right.
if I see like one of my, I actually had a basketball player that was like, oh, I was thinking about doing volleyball. I'm like, you'd be a killer volleyball player. Like, try it. I would love to build a program
Keep
based
doing
on
that.
that.
Yeah.
I would love to have that kind of open relationship with every one of my clients. That like, I'm going to help you get to the goal that you already want. But if I see something, can I try to
Give you
can
a
I
suggestion
see it?
to that, yeah.
And I think that's the big thing is that the takeaway is that yes, I want you to get where you want to go, but I think one thing that's lost in the industry, at least in the private sector of strength and conditioning, is that communication's so important.
Yeah.
And I've been really trying to step out of my comfort zone to make sure that I contact all of, even people I haven't seen in a year or two. Hey, how's it going? Something, so that way it's just, I don't know. I think communication is like the firmest way of keeping a relationship alive.
I think the thing that's interesting that you're talking about is like your job is to not only help bring out the things in them that they see and that they're trying to develop,
Right.
but your job is also to help develop and bring out the things that they don't see or that they can't quite touch. And
Or
I
they
think
never knew they had.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because that's funny, like when you're saying to somebody like, all right, hey, we're gonna go up 20 pounds on this, or I'm gonna add an extra 3 inches on the box, and they look at that and they're like, oh my God, no way, like I can't do that. And you're like, no, you can do it. It's like, no, I can't do that.
And
It's
I'm
like
seeing you
I'm
over that box.
I'm watching you right now. I know you can do it, right? And I think that's like such an amazing analogy to like when someone comes in as a coach, when you're hired, like your job is to help them get to where they want to go, but it's also to help get them to where they can go, and they may not even be able to see where they can go. And that's where the communication piece comes in. Like our job is to be able to like reinforce what they're able to do, but it's also to like mind drop in their brain these things that maybe they never thought of, and they've been going down this path the entire time, but now you go, oh hey, there's this thing that I think you'd be excellent at over here, and they go, wait a minute, yeah, maybe, and then they start trying something different, and then that ends up being
Frogger.
exactly better than what they were doing before.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's awesome. That's excellent. Cool. Anything else that you feel like would be fantastic for clients, anybody who watches this in the future, right? Your future self, what do you think would be fantastic for those people to know about you?
We decided to talk about trying to push out a little bit more information towards any kind of questions that kind of come in from clients, other coaches, anybody that really has any interest in the health and wellness industry, and just trying to get some information out towards the masses. So I've been writing a couple of different blog posts, and so be sure to look for them.
Boom.
Plug.
Yeah. Shameless.
So that's going to be a cool thing that's going to be coming out.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Coach Rob. If you guys ever have questions, you can always hit him up. Rob at peakhumanperformance.us. Send him an email, set up some time to sit down and chat, align your goals, let him help you take there. Okay, Rob, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, man. We'll see you guys later. Bye.